Greetings and welcome to Space Center Houston, the home of the Johnson Space Center Visitor Center. Today I'm going to be showing you three of the most impressive pieces of hardware here at Space Center Houston. First, we'll see the Falcon 9 booster from SpaceX. Second, we'll see the shuttle carrier aircraft and their shuttle mock-up Independence. And third, we're going to see the Saturn V rocket, the rocket that took us to the moon. Let's go. This SpaceX Falcon 9 first stage, a Block 3 variant, is known as Booster B-1035. It flew twice in 2017 for NASA. Both missions, CRS-11 and CRS-13, delivered cargo to the International Space Station. It was the first booster to be reused twice for a NASA mission. Both flights had B-1035 land at LZ-1, or Landing Zone 1, at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station right next door to the Kennedy Space Center. After B-1035's second flight, it was retired and then donated to Space Center Houston for display. You can tell B-1035 flew more than once by the black soot that covers most of the booster. This is from the exhaust of the 9 Merlin 1D engines. The soot comes from the RP-1 kerosene fuel the Falcon 9 uses. And yes, the Falcon 9 gets its name from the 9 engines. One of the coolest things about the Falcon 9 display here is you can actually touch the rocket and not get in trouble. See? The Space Shuttle Independence and 747 shuttle carrier aircraft are located in Independence Plaza here at Space Center Houston. The 747 Shuttle Carrier Aircraft, or SCA, is NASA tail number 905. It is one of two 747 SCAs NASA used throughout the Space Shuttle program to transport Space Shuttle orbiters around the country. You can see by the nose markings on 905 all of the heavy lifting it did for the Space Shuttle program, including the drop tests in 1977. 905 is now a museum to the Space Shuttle program that you can walk through and learn about. The Space Shuttle Independence is a full-scale, high-fidelity replica of the Space Shuttle orbiter. It started life as the Explorer at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. It was transferred to Space Center Houston in 2012. You can walk into the flight deck, mid-deck, and the payload bay and see for yourself what the interior of a space shuttle was like to live and work in. It was pretty tight fit for up to 7 astronauts at a time. Independence Plaza is a must-see when visiting Space Center Houston. Welcome to Rocket Park. Outside here, there are 2 replica rockets. The white and silver rocket is the Little Joe 2. It was used to test the launch escape system for the Apollo Saturn missions. In case of an emergency, during the early minutes of the launch, it could be activated either manually by the commander or automatically by the flight computer. It would tractor the command module, or CM, away from the Saturn V, thus saving the astronauts. The thinner black and white rocket is the Mercury Redstone. This is the rocket that sent Alan Shepard and Gus Grissom on suborbital flights in 1961. These were America's first steps into space. Now let's go inside and see the Saturn V, the rocket that took us to the moon. This is the Saturn V rocket. It's 363 feet tall, weighed 6.5 million pounds fully fueled at liftoff, and the 5 Rocketdyne F1 engines generated 7.5 million pounds of thrust. It was used for Apollos 8 through 17 and Skylab. It was designed by Dr. Werner Braun. Unlike some rockets today, the Saturn V was not reusable. In fact, the only part that returns to Earth is the command module, or CM, at the top of the Saturn V. This is not a mock-up or a model. This is actual flight-ready hardware built in the late 60s to fly in the early 70s. But due to budget cutbacks at NASA, Apollos 18, 19, and 20 were canceled. So what you see here are parts and pieces to Apollos 18, 19, and 20. This Saturn V was brought to JSC back in 1977, where it was put on display outside. Over the years, the Texas weather did a lot of damage to it, and so in 2012, a restoration program was begun. The building was built around it to protect it, and the National Air and Space Museum headed up the process of cleaning, repairing, and painting the Saturn V. So what you see is what the Saturn V looked like in 1971. Right now, the Saturn V holds the record for the largest and the most powerful rocket to ever successfully fly. Over at the Kennedy Space Center, NASA is preparing to launch the SLS, or Space Launch System, for the Artemis 1 mission. That's the rocket that will take it back to the moon. Once it flies successfully, it would become the record holder for the most powerful rocket with 8.4 million pounds of thrust.